My friends at Cricket Wireless and ESPN are giving away a trip to one of the year's biggest sporting events. We're talking about an opportunity to choose an ultimate bucket list event. Visit cricketsweepstakes.com/ESPN bucket list or go to your local cricket store to enter.
Scott Burnside, ESPN.com here on the latest edition of Hockey Today, the podcast. We hear from Henrik Lundqvist of the New York Rangers. Trevor Daley of the Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins stops by. So does Charlie Coyle of the Minnesota Wild.
Welcome to a highly questionable Wednesday. What do we got that you like today, Bomani?
We're going to talk about the election result in San Diego. Big thing happened in San Diego.
Yeah, that one. Dale, Papi.
Are you buying Bill Belichick saying that his note to Donald Trump wasn't political?
Belichick. We need to keep beeping that on the podcast because when he says Belichick, it sounds like something else. Regardless, a great opportunity to play this video and this audio. This is magical. He seems nervous during it, and then look at what he does at the end.
Our friendship goes back many years, and I think anybody that's spent more than 5 minutes with me knows I'm not a political person. My comments are not politically motivated. I have a friendship and a loyalty to Donald. A couple weeks ago, we had Secretary of State Kerry in our locker room. It's another friend of mine. Can't imagine two people with more different political views than those two. But to me, friendship and loyalty is just about that. It's not about political or religious views. I write hundreds of letters and notes every month. Doesn't mean I agree with every single thing that every person thinks about politics, religion, or other subjects. But I have multiple friendships that are important to me, and that's what that was about. So it's not about politics, it's about football. We got a huge game this week against a great football team, great organization, and that's where it all is going forward on Seattle. All right.
Coach, were you happy or annoyed that Trump read the letter?
Seattle.
But your team's always been good at keeping outside distractions on the outside. Given the nature of this presidential race,
Seattle.
Did you find it?
Seattle.
Did you find it helpful to talk to
Seattle.
your players about this? If any of your players talk to you about this, are there
Seattle.
any concerns about any locker room rancor as a result of this?
Next.
It's like a Buddhist mantra there. He's trying to say it to himself. He's saying it out loud. He doesn't know whether it's coming out loud or he's just thinking it many more times than that. Two things in sports I want to see more than any other. One, his reaction when Donald Trump read that letter against his wishes, I'm guessing, in public. And two, the explanation to Martellus Bennett when Martellus Bennett wants an answer for why it is that letter was written to Donald Trump.
Yeah, but the explanation of Martellus Bennett is simple. I'm the boss. Like, he doesn't have to explain anything to the rest of these guys, and he's demonstrated that having that kind of relationship with his players isn't really necessary. But Bill Belichick, do I have sucker written across my forehead? You wrote in the letter that you wanted to do to make America great again. That's the slogan for his political campaign. That absolutely was political. Now, we can raise the question as to whether or not there's something particular about this candidate, the president-elect, that makes it such that he has to answer for them. But don't try to fool me, man. You write 1,000 letters every month. That's fine. That wasn't a form letter that you gave him. That was very particular, and you can't hide from it. You got to blame your man for that, though. You should have told him not to tell anybody.
Oh, Belly, you know, you're showing some chest there, you know. I mean, it's just, you know.
Was he?
Right.
He was showing some chest. I didn't notice that. All right, Papi, don't get any ideas. Come on.
Wait a second, let me show mine. If he shows his, I can show mine.
All you're going to show him is that V-neck.
Wow. Pink, white, pasty, and gray.
Don't forget about the dingy V-neck.
Ladies.
Do the new rankings feel like the final college playoff field?
All right, Washington moved into the number 4 slot after Texas A&M lost the game, and a quarterback in Washington smoked Cal. Does this feel like the final field? Of course it doesn't feel like this. You just started watching college football last week or something like that. These are college students playing these games. One of those teams that's in the top 4 now is probably going to wind up losing because college students aren't built to show up every time. Michigan's got a game against Ohio State. Washington's going to have one against Wazoo. And again, they're college students. This will change.
I do think the thing to watch for, though, Washington's schedule has been super easy so far, but it gets hard. And if they lose a game, when you compare it to a one-loss Ohio State or a one-loss Louisville, how does that stack up against those teams? Because if Washington wins out, they'll be fine because their schedule will have been hard enough once they play the remaining games on it. But I do wonder, once we start putting Louisville in there, once we start talking about a one-loss Ohio State team, whether Washington would stack up with that.
I will say, though, I reserve the right to change my mind when I actually watch Washington play. Just hadn't come up. They like to play on Friday nights. I like to take Friday nights off from work.
But I do know that Washington was going to be good this year because of how much they were getting arrested the last couple of years. You can usually track it that way. If the police sirens are near your huddle, your team's getting better.
You don't watch football on Friday night? Well, maybe that's the reason you don't have a Heisman vote.
Oh,
you got to stay in college football at all times.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I was going to say that I would do that if I had a Heisman vote, but how did I know that your delightful old man was just going to try to bring the elbow on top of me on national TV? Thanks for nothing, Pops.
Caught me off guard.
Do these photos prove that the Seahawks are deflating footballs?
Proof? No, but the photos are incriminating. Let's see here. Let's see what we've got here.
Wow.
That is not usually how a football looks. I mean, the photos are incriminating, but I don't think it proves anything, Bomani. And would you be dumb enough at this point to actually do something like that?
By the way, shout out to whoever took the time to take the photograph, by the way. Like, that's a remarkable level of focus that you have to have on this ultimately mundane issue. That doesn't look legal. Now, granted, I haven't watched many times where they show the ball at impact like that, so I don't know how it actually looks in those moments. But here's the thing for the NFL. You've demonstrated to us that this is the sort of thing that you really enforce. So are you going to do it, or is it just about the Patriots?
Well, I know who is very excited about these pictures, buddy. Ted Wells, another report, another $5 million. He's just, I'm telling you, he's setting up his game plan now.
That's who took those pictures, Ted Wells.
He hires people to take those pictures. He's running a scheme.
At what point should the unibrow consider demanding a trade?
Wow, really? Demanding a trade. They have yet to win a game this season. They just lost to Sacramento. He's averaging 30 and 12, and those teammates are uncommonly bad around him. Consider it? When should he consider it? He can consider it all he wants. It doesn't matter whether he's considering it. I wouldn't trade him under any circumstances, given how young he is, no matter what it is that you're giving back to me, because you're not going to give me something back that's as good as he is.
Now, consider this, though. There has been some bad luck. There are some injury issues. It's not like this is the team that the Pelicans envisioned, and then Anthony Davis is stuck on it. They had no foresight whatsoever. But he can't force a trade. He just hit on it. Why in the world would the Pelicans even consider doing anything like that? The one thing, though, is that if they're abjectly terrible this year, they will have a good pick in what is expected to be a great draft. What the Pelicans haven't done with Davis, draft that second player. This might be the year they do it. He just might be like 28, 29 by the time they get good enough for it to matter.
Well, I know a team that will appeal to the unibrow.
I wonder where this is going to go.
That's it.
Where's this
the
going to
Heat,
go? There it is.
You lost against Sacramento.
There it is.
They beat Sacramento in overtime. So that right there, you got an edge.
Yeah.
The Heat, they need a few good players still yet.
Or he might go back to his hometown, Chicago. Yeah. Just like Dwayne Wade.
Oh, no, don't get him started. My father's willing to offer you Dion Waiters for Anthony Davis.
Coming up next on my son Stevie's show, we talk to Dana White.
The story I read said that you were jumped, you were beat up for 20 minutes, right? Like, what was happening there? What's the backstory?
A lot of kicking was going on for 20 minutes.
College football lives here. It's a huge showdown in the Pac-12 Saturday night. USC, winners of 5 straight, heads to Seattle to face undefeated Washington.
10, touchdown USC, 72 yards, the big play strike.
The Huskies are desperate to prove themselves, and a win against USC will do just that. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Joining us at the beach today is Dana White.
Hey, you know who he is. He's promoting UFC 205 at Madison Square Garden this weekend. Let's talk to him.
Dana, what happened with you? I read the other day, I hadn't known this about you before, that you had something close to a bad vertigo problem. Like, what was going on there? How long were you dealing with this?
I still deal with it today. It's incurable. But I literally just got back from Germany. There's a guy out there named Dr. Peter Velling. And anybody who has this disease, it's brutal.
They actually do this type of blood spinning. They take your blood, they spin it, they re-inject it back into you the next day, and it's really changed my life.
But what are the bad parts of this? Obviously, it's dizziness, but I can't imagine a lot more that would be more disorienting than this.
Yeah, no, it's more than dizziness. When you get an attack of Meniere's, it's called Meniere's disease. When you get an attack, it's nerve damage to the inner ear. When you get an attack, you go in a dark room and sometimes 9, 12, 13 hours. You close your eyes and just lay in a room. Yeah, it's horrible. People who have it, since I have gone to Germany and I've spoke out about how it's helped me, I hear from people all the time who have it saying, what can I do, what can I do?
How long have you had it? You got it in a fight, right? Or you think you got it in a fight?
Yeah, I definitely got it. I got jumped in Boston when I was younger, and this ear was messed up for a long time. I lost the hearing in it. It rang, but I didn't really get the Meniere's till much later in life, probably 7 or 8 years ago. I started having attacks. I didn't know what it was. There's a place in Los Angeles called the House Clinic. They're the experts on Meniere's disease, and they diagnosed me with it.
The story I read said that you were jumped, you were beat up for 20 minutes, right? Like, what was happening there? What's the backstory?
A lot of kicking was going on for 20 minutes. It was a bad night for me. A bunch of guys from Charlestown jumped me in Boston, and it went on for 20 minutes until the police came. People were getting out of their cars and trying to help me, and they were getting it too.
Not to blame you for getting beat up, but I'm just curious what happened, because I think after 20 minutes they would have gotten bored unless they were really invested in roughing
Unfortunately, they did not get bored. This started with my sister, actually. A guy hit my sister, and it was basically just a setup. A bunch of Charlestown guys go out doing stuff like this and would start fights, and it was pretty crazy. But
so
that
is the Sonny Corleone situation, right? Right, when you do something to your sister to get you to come out?
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. And that's what these guys were known for, apparently.
I've read you talk before about the difficulties in growing up with an alcoholic father, a father who struggled with alcohol. What are some of the scars that you would say that you carried into adulthood from those memories? Yeah,
I don't know if I carried any scars, but I think the way that I grew up made me a better father to my kids, I remember thinking when I first had kids, I was like, wow, how do you not want to spend time with your children? How do you not want to, be around them all the time and do whatever you can for your kids? So if anything, I've always been good at looking at other people and learning on who I wanted to be or who I didn't want to be. And I think that, the relationship that I had with my father growing up 100% made me a better father.
It's a big job, though. I'm wondering how often you feel guilt because of the kind of stuff that you're talking about, because you have to travel and you have to be away so much, even as involved as you are in your kids' lives, and you do big things with them at sporting events. How often do you feel guilt about all the traveling you're doing?
No, it's part of the gig. It's what I have to do. Technology's been good to me as a father because I don't miss anything. When when my son has a football game, if I'm not there, which I usually am there, but if there's some scenario where I can't be, we stream it live. I stream their football games, their plays, or whatever it might be. I haven't missed a function, not one, that my kids have had, obviously because I was able to stay and do what and watch it or whatever, or we streamed it live to me and I saw it anyway.
Go ahead, Papi. What do you have for Dana?
Dana, I heard that you started dating your wife Ann in high school. How did you ask her out?
Oh.
We didn't really date in high school. We've been friends since we were in high school. And actually today is our 20-year anniversary. We've been together for 20 years, married.
And you're with us?
But the first time you went out with her, you remember that?
Actually, I'll give you this one. So we met in 8th grade. And the day that I asked her to marry me, I took her to the school that we went to, which was St. Viator's in Las Vegas. On the bench where I met her, that's where I asked her to marry me.
Wow.
Why?
Nice.
Why? He asked you one time, the first time you were on with us, he asked you the most romantic thing you've ever done, and you were like, I don't know, I don't do anything romantic. That was legitimately romantic right there.
Yeah, all right.
Nice
Well,
work by you.
Yeah, I got you wrong. You're a lover, not a fighter.
There you go. He had you wrong. Good talking to you, Dana.
You too. Thanks.
Scupper inside ESPN.com here on the latest edition of Hockey Today, the podcast. We hear from Henrik Lundqvist of the New York Rangers. Trevor Daly of the Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins stops by. So does Charlie Coyle of the Minnesota Wild.
Time to play the game that is not in the mood today. Do you question?
Give us topics and events. We question them.
Do you question if these 2 points were worth it?
All right, it's from Hawks and Cavs. Cavs lost their first game of the season in this game against the Atlanta Hawks. But we're going to go to Chickamauga. Oh!
Ow!
Oh!
Ow!
What's he doing with his hair?
What is with that hair? That hair usually doesn't go with that play.
Totally worth it, though, right? Like, he went through the whole roster of the Clutch Sports Agency and banged on him. I mean, I think it's kind of worth it.
Wow, worth it, says Bomani in an upset. 2 points in the first quarter of a regular season game to make it 13-9. Congratulations in exchange for your spleen.
That's spoken like someone who's never done to basketball before.
It could have been worse.
It could have been.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, remember this?
Oh, that is worse. Agreed. Do we have a collection of these? Do we have a collection? What about that baby? Put that baby up there. That baby that dunked, and then all of a sudden it fell on his head. Put that baby up there. Let's mock the baby.
Do you question if the Grizzlies mascot went too far?
What is the Grizzlies mascot? Do you know, Bomani?
I would assume it's a bear.
I don't know. Let's see.
Oh!
Sexy bear. Is that indeed a bear?
That is a bear.
Oh, look at that. House band music. Sensual.
What, is that a twerking bear?
Yeah. Woo! You guys should see what's underneath that HQ.
Mascot faces make everything better, right?
Yeah. The face does not change, and it's super
right, but
sensual.
yeah, like it feels like the bear is giving us a sexy look, even though that's the same look he gives while he's shooting T-shirts out of a cannon.
Right, that is correct. When they're losing, when they're winning. Chris won with a buzzer beater by Marcus All. That's what made him dance like that.
I'm not impressed at all. That is not going too far. You want to see something going too far? This is what you gotta do. This is what you gotta do. You gotta go. You gotta go the way down. Yeah.
All right. That's enough. Oh dear God. Okay. Can we end the segment, please?
Time to play the game that brings it every time. See? Or no?
Tell us what to watch on television tonight. Today is the day he uses the no card.
On the Discovery Channel, Alaskan bush people.
Let's see. Let's go. Tease us. Tempt us.
His date will be leaving by nightfall, and he wants to make the most of the time together.
I wrote a song that's inspired by one of my breakups. Actually, the lyrics of it are things that really happened. It's one of my songs that has the most soul in it.
It's been a year since I saw you last. It's been a year. My heart has passed.
You know, when you meet someone, you don't really get to see who they are until they're extremely comfortable.
It's been 2 years since last we met. You broke my heart like it was glass, but you fixed it now like you could never do, with a little tape and just a bit of glue.
He's definitely got a romantic side to him.
I'm crying. I'm so moved by that. Bomani, are you intrigued?
So that was a terrible song that you wrote about a breakup that you're singing to your new girl. Like, why don't you just jump in love and repel it? Because apparently what you were trying to do was make her run away.
Papi, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued, but I don't understand that. What the hell is he doing? She's leaving by nightfall, you know? He's wasting time, buddy. You're running against the clock here. You don't waste your time,
Let's go. Stop with the song.
Get down to business.
Yeah, forget about your old song. Put on some Al Jarreau.
That's right.
On PBS, Nature, the story of cats.
This is always delightful for me. I love these animal specials. What do we got? What kind of cats?
With their aquatic skills and powerful bite, jaguars were able to take on prey their canine rivals couldn't tackle. For millions of years, caiman had been the apex predator. Then the hunter became the hunted. This extraordinary act of predation was filmed by a tourist in Brazil's Pantanal and has become an internet sensation. It shows what skillful and audacious predators cats can be.
I mean, since when? So when? What? I didn't know those things could swim and spend time underwater. Like, you gotta be bleeping kidding me. Bomani, are you intrigued?
I mean, I know it's not physically possible, but that gator got to keep his head on a swivel. Speaking of head on a swivel, you over there with a camera, you better get the hell on about your business. You better be lucky that cat likes alligator and doesn't like, stupid photographer.
I mean, that's what's coming next, right? Sneaking up behind person with camera. Papi, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. This is the first time I see a jaguar getting a win.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That would have ended much differently if Gus Bradley had been there. All of a sudden, the caiman would have been eating.
We're actually not sure if the Jaguars could beat the Gators, like the Florida Gators.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones. You're going to want to listen 4 to 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio.
Gracias. See you mañana.
That caiman neck is like Peyton Manning's, you know?
Oh, the caiman can't really move around and see what's behind it. I mean, that's how this...
Why won't that ever stop being funny?
That feels like what won the Super Bowl last year, right there at quarterback.
Red Hot USC heads to Seattle to face 4th-ranked Washington.
Far left side of the field for the end zone. Jump ball, Darius Rogers. Touchdown USC.
Coverage begins Saturday at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.